right behind you.
Francis Urquhart's reign began in the House of Cards. See his rise to power on BBC Video, available now from video outlets. With haunting music from Ennio Morricone, Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons star in the award-winning film The Mission, over on BBC2 in 5 minutes.
It's teamwork, even back on shore.
I can't let Archie lose his job because of me.
You're giving evidence to the HSE?
Of course.
But you were there.
Like fish out of water?
Mum, please!
What's going on?
Why don't you tell me what it is you want?
Why don't you know?
Is this a private party or can anyone be miserable?
At least there's each other.
I'm losing my grip. Well, on reality.
Roughnecks, Thursday 9:40 on BBC1.
In the summer of this year, the church was rocked by scandal. The man at the centre now responds to those allegations.
He seemed to want to have as many women as he possibly could get his hands on.
I'd committed myself to what I thought was right and just.
We were taken in. We were suckers.
I've been accused, sentenced, hung.
I mean, we really felt here was something good.
All these people are saying that I betrayed them.
The New Age priest accused of bringing the Church of England into disrepute speaks publicly for the first time. Everyman in 15 minutes, followed by the debate in Heart of the Matter on BBC1.
And it's time for the news here on BBC1 now at 5 to 10 with Michael Burke.
The Irish Prime Minister's put forward a new plan to unblock the Northern Ireland peace process. Sinn Féin says a return to violence is inevitable if they're not included in all-party talks soon. The Bosnian Serb leaders warn that NATO troops who try to arrest him for war crimes will be killed. And the priest at the centre of the 9 o'clock service rave scandal has resigned. Good evening. The political temperature in Northern Ireland is rising in advance of President Clinton's visit to the province later this week. Tonight, the Irish Prime Minister sent John Major new proposals for breaking the present deadlock in the peace process. Downing Street said the two leaders will speak on the phone tomorrow, but that there was little new in the Irish proposals. Sinn Féin, meantime, has predicted a return to violence if they're not admitted to all-party talks soon.
A big Sinn Féin rally in Londonderry today, which attracted over 1,000 supporters, only served to underline the gulf that remains in the search for a formula that'll open the way to full-scale talks. The stumbling block yet again seems to be that the British government thinks Dublin is still giving too much weight to Sinn Féin's reluctance to accept a procedure for handing over arms. But Republican leaders insist it's up to John Major to make the next move.
We have done all of this, taken all the risks which were there, and we have said to the British government and to the Unionist leadership, come and join with us in the search for an honest, genuine peace in this country.
Officials of the two Prime Ministers failed over the weekend to sort out differences between London and Dublin. There's now no prospect of John Major holding a summit with John Bruton before President Clinton arrives on Wednesday, but the two premiers will speak again on the phone tomorrow. John Bruton's latest proposals appear to London to offer nothing new and continue to lean too heavily towards Sinn Féin. John Major intends to continue discussions after President Clinton's visit, but the British government seems to be digging in and insisting that talks can't start until both Dublin and Sinn Féin accept that there has to be a distinction between the terrorists and legitimate security forces. Nicholas Jones, BBC News.
Anti-divorce campaigners in the Irish Republic may mount a legal challenge to yesterday's referendum result. A recount confirmed victory for those in favour of allowing divorce, but by a majority of just 0.5%.
The Catholic Church opposed divorce in what was a bruising referendum campaign. But mass-goers in Dublin, which voted solidly in favour, saw no problem.
Well, I'm not in favour of divorce, being an older person, but I suppose for the younger person, people, I'm thinking of my own family and their children growing up, maybe it's a good thing.
I think it'll be good for the northern situation. I think people there might see a change of attitude and can only be positive from that point of view.
The narrowness of the margin and a decision recently by the Irish Supreme Court that the government had acted unconstitutionally in funding support for the Yes campaign are the grounds on which anti-divorce groups are considering taking legal action. One constitutional law expert, though, says the chances of success for a legal move are slim.
I think this is an example of where strict legal logic will be overtaken by a sense of judicial pragmatism, because the Supreme Court will not want to interfere with the views of the Irish people as solemnly expressed in a referendum.
The anti-divorce groups have to decide very soon if they are going to mount a legal challenge. Costs and just how realistic the chances of success are will be major factors. But the Irish government is in no doubt that the vote was a triumph, marking a completely new direction for the country and its people. Dennis Murray, BBC News, Dublin.
Washington has rejected demands by the Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic to renegotiate the peace deal on Bosnia. Mr. Karadzic had warned that Sarajevo would become the Beirut of Europe if plans to put the city under Muslim Croat control goes ahead. And he said that NATO soldiers would be killed if they attempted to arrest people accused of war crimes.
Dr. Karadzic has been indicted for war crimes, and even though NATO have never suggested their troops will try to arrest him, he told me today in a BBC interview that if they do, they may be killed. A warning probably designed to scare the American Congress, which is already deeply reluctant to send US soldiers here.
If they try to arrest not only me, but any single